When my tenure is over, I would love to take the bell and the gavel home and use it. Oh my. Welcome to the last meeting for the month of April. Are you amazed at how quickly time is going by? Oh my, it gives me 2 more months to get this job done. And I am just delighted to see so many of you here today. We're in for a special treat, so we've started a few minutes early. So at this time, we're going to ask our Rotarian Secretary Ben to come forward with the prayer, pledge, and 4-way test.
Father, we do thank you for this time. We can come together as Rotarians in this time of fellowship, and we thank you for the guests here that are joining us. And we do thank you for the many talents we all have, and pray that we can just be using them well to serve our community. And we do thank you for this community that we are a part of. We thank you for this beautiful spring weather we're enjoying, and just the sign of life. And we do thank you for the life we have through your son, who rose around this time that we celebrate. And Father, we do just pray that we thank you for the many blessings we have in this community throughout this country, and for this meal we have now. And we thank you, and we pray this all in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
You'll face the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the 4-way pledge are the things we think, say, and do. First,
Is the truth.
Second,
Is it fair to all concerned.
third,
Will goodwill and better friendships.
and fourth.
Will be beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. May I remind you to silence your cell phones just in case someone gives you a call. And we have the gift carafes on the table. So please remember to give generously to Ending Polio Now. All right. Miss Nancy, family of Rotary.
We have a couple of guests, and I'm going to let Julie introduce hers first. Did I catch you with your mouth full, Julie?
Most of you know Rita Shacklett for many, many years at the library. And you know, Bill Shacklett, something married to Rita Shacklett. I'm the better man.
I was going to say. I don't even, is Bill Mills here? I don't even see Bill. He's got a guest, but it may be online. Is it?
No guest online.
Okay, well, I'm not sure where this came from. All righty, then Chad is here.
Yeah.
This, okay, you want to introduce?
Sure. So let me just say, if you haven't been over to see our new facility at the Murfreesboro Airport, it is amazing. And so I am very proud today to have as my guest the director of that facility, Chad Hershey. Thank you.
And we can give him an application for Rotary membership if you want. Anything else? I wanted to remind you, this week is the last time you can vote. There's Jim Garner. You had your back to me. Bill Mills has got you as a guest. Let me introduce. Well, I don't need to introduce Jim Garner. He was a member of this club years ago.
He said he would be willing to just come forward for 1 minute and just tell us his great story about
Okay.
Rotary.
Okay.
Jim, you want to come on up? Thank you.
Well,
It's so good to see you.
I didn't mean to come up here or do anything. I just wanted to see if anybody was still alive that used to be.
A few
I
of us.
noticed two, but I'm not sure if both of them are alive. I was president. I was in the Rotary here from '76 to about 2003 or so, and then I I dropped out.
You can come back
You're
in.
back.
Well, I know, if I get a free meal from Bill Mills again, I might. I'm kind of tired of McDonald's.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back.
Anyway, through my period in Rotary, we saw a lot of growth. We were, somewhere around 100 up to 130 people, pretty active. We checked cans for the Health Hunger Humanities Program. We almost got rid of polio, but not quite.
We're close.
And we're getting closer all the time. In fact, after this, I participated in the Health Hunger Humanity and spent somewhere around 1981, when it first started, with President of Rotary International, President Bomar from Cheval. And actually, I spent a month in the Philippines working in a refugee camp that was funded by the Rotary, and learned a lot about vaccines and how the world can cooperate with getting vaccinations from even France while we were there with an epidemic. And it's a wonderful organization. I certainly encourage you to stay active and don't drop out like me. I've been promising to come for a long time, Bill and a few other people to show up, and today I was hungry.
And he was paying.
That's right.
He was
And
paying.
you can't have that bill. Is there a story that I remember about the bell getting burned up one time?
What? Sorry.
Huh?
Please share that.
Huh?
Please share that, Joe.
Well, once where we used to be, then the place burned down. The bell only survived. Well, I don't know. Maybe we had a president that stole it and now we had to
No.
replace it. There's always a story behind a story most of the time. But anyway, Nancy, thanks for letting me come up here, and I didn't mean to interfere.
No
But
problem.
anyway, thank you.
I was going to remind everybody, I think Thursday is the last day you can vote early. And I would highly recommend voting early. I went to the sports com today, walked right in. I was the one there. It took me about 5 minutes from start to finish. I was really interested on my ballot. There was one person I could vote for. That was it. I couldn't help but wonder if I'd wasted my time, but I did go vote. And anyway,
All right, thank you. Thank you, Miss Nancy. And please remember, Tuesday, May 3rd, we will not be convening here due to Election Day. So we will reconvene the next week, but May 3rd, to give everybody an opportunity to exercise their American rights to vote. And that's, so if you pull up and there are no cars, remember, it's voting day. That's a great reminder. Now, James Price, we have had just an amazing weekend starting Thursday at Indian Hills Country Club. We hosted, as you know, District 6780 with the golf tournament. The weather was outstanding. And I am just going to ask Andrew to please stand in recognition of dedicating the full day to helping all those Rotary clubs. Let's give Andrew a hand. We so greatly appreciate you. And then we had the Shred Day on Earth Day on Saturday. So James, do you want to give us a success report? Come on to the mic. Since we're Zoom, we're a hybrid model right now. Everybody has to come to the mic.
Hi, Mike. I want to thank everybody who came out. I mean, we had a big presence out there. It was a very highly successful event. A lot of, not just for the collection, but the branding that went along with it. There was a lot of people that said, hey, I didn't know that, this group was out here, this group was out there. So really appreciate everybody that came out for the event. As long as I'm up here today, on your table, I put a little card for the Torch Awards and the Spark Awards coming up. This is to nominate a business that deserves recognition for their ethical business practices. And as I just told Norman, even if you've won in the past, if you won more than 5 years ago, you can do it again and be a double winner. So if you know of a business or your business exemplifies that integrity, then apply for the Torch Award or the Spark Award, which is for businesses who have been in business less than 3 years or people who are under 35. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. And now we're going to ask Thomas Parker to come forward. He's got an announcement to make.
Hello, everybody. It's good to see y'all. For those who don't know me, because I have not been physically present for a while, I'm Thomas Parkerson, and I am the president of the Recovery Court Board here in Murfreesboro. And I put on your table a fundraiser that we have coming up on April the 29th. It's at the Founds from 7 in the morning to 8 in the morning. It doesn't cost anything to attend. If you want to come and donate, you can, but we are honoring Judge Bragg. We're honoring Judge McFarland. We're honoring Judge Ash. We're also honoring, and some of you remember Mary Schneider, who used to run the Recovery Court. She was amazing, and she passed away. We're going to honor her as well. We're going to donate a plaque to one of the rooms. We're going to dedicate one of the rooms at the Recovery Court to her. And it is an amazing program, and all the funds go to the Recovery Court. I believe Judge Tidwell has spoken here before. I know Judge Bragg has spoken here. I think Judge McFarland's spoken to the Rotary before. So they would all really appreciate you being there. I know several in here will be there. I think David's on the board with me. Andrew will be there. Shanto always comes to the Recovery Court graduations. And so everybody is welcome. And even if you can't come, there's a QR code on here if you can't make it. I mean, $10 is fine if or whatever you decide to donate, or just be there in support of the judges. I really appreciate it. And I've got a few more flyers if anybody just wants to come grab it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Now, on the university calendar, tomorrow is the last day of classes, Professor. And so we're going to support Stephen Salter, the incoming Faculty Senate President, for the beginning of the new academic year. But before the last day of classes, there's still a lot of exciting athletic events happening on the campus. And Diane is here, so she's going to share that. And John is just waiting to talk about UT baseball. This is a phenomenal season for them. So I'm going to ask both of them to come up, okay, for our sports report.
I'm not worthy.
You got big news. So
Much nicer person to be up here with.
I'm gonna take that as a huge.
It
compliment.
is. Is the other guy still in the club?
Maybe. All right, I'll go first.
You go
got big
first.
news. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys saw it, but we had Coach Jimmy Bornday here a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a couple of months ago. Time passes fast. His guys are now ranked 18th in the nation. And they just won their 3rd conference championship last weekend. So we're pretty excited about that. They are right there on the verge of being able to host a first-round NCAA matchup. We will find out where we will either be hosting or be going on May the 2nd. So we would invite you guys to come out. We'd love to have you hopefully help us advance. So it's an exciting time. We just got word that baseball is ranked 55th in the most recent net. So we're excited about that. And that kind of puts us right on the cusp, not as high as UT's baseball team, but right on the cusp of possibly an at-large bid. So, so just saying, but we're excited. Women's golf just finished up. Women's tennis just finished up. So all we like is baseball. and track. And track will be headed to the pin relays this coming week, and we're excited about that. We have several individuals who have broken university and other records, so we think they'll do very well in Conference USA. So we're very, very excited about that. And if you want to come out and help us celebrate a good year, Thursday night, we have the Raiders Choice Awards. They're at Tucker Theater. They start at 7 o'clock. You can call and get a free ticket, but we'll be honoring some of the top moments in our year that has just passed. It's the first year we've got to be in person in about 2 or 3 years, so we're excited. It's kind of nice to see all the athletes dress up in their best and come out to receive their awards. So if you want to be a part of that, just contact the BRAA and they will make sure you get a free ticket. And now we'll turn it over.
The baseball team swept La Tech this weekend, right?
Yeah.
That's a good series win,
That is
from what I
good.
hear.
Yeah,
Two out of three.
So tell more.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I follow MTSU as much as I can. Oops. But anyway, I know y'all are sick of me talking about UT, but we are a baseball school. And, so I'm gonna take advantage of it while I can. We did beat Vanderbilt. We swept Vanderbilt this year.
Yes.
Is that old news? It's old news. We swept Alabama. Ole Miss, I don't know, hotty toddy. Hotty tot, sorry, Larry. But Tennessee Tech did beat us. The only team really. We were 37-3 and 17-1 in the conference, which is a record. School, or not, it's a conference record. But we've kind of getting a reputation of being the bad boys, and I have nothing to do with that. But they're getting, I don't know, ugly reputation, but I like it right now. So we're winning. That's all that matters. But anyway, that's it. Sorry George isn't here, but we play Xavier today, and then we have Auburn in the series this weekend. But glad to have Mr. Shacklett here today. He's a good man. So anyway.
When's football season start?
Football season is
Yes, Stephen. Dr. Salter, come on forward. Yes.
Okay. I wanted to say that MTSU athletics is not only about winning games, it's also about students. And I have one of the women's basketball team who is taking her final exam online as we speak. So if the athletics folks are here, I would include her in your prayers.
Thank you so much. On Saturday, we had the honor of waking up like 3:30 as a club. And because we scheduled a Rotary meeting with our Rotarians in Japan. For them, it was 8:00 p.m. But for us, by the time we got there and settled, it was 5:00 a.m. And Frank, thank you for the donuts, because we needed lots of sugar. But for those that were participants in the Zoom meeting with the Japan Rotary Club, on behalf of myself as president and Rotarian Yosuke, we were just delighted that so many of you came and helped us to fellowship with our Japan Rotarians, and they wanted to find out everything Rotary about Middle Tennessee and the state of Tennessee, and I think we accomplished that. But I'm going to ask those members that got up and participated, found the studio that early in the morning, could you please stand so we can recognize you for taking the time to do that? We convened at Spread the Positive studio right behind Chewy's. And it was an excellent, excellent opportunity for us to fellowship. So perhaps next year, because they have extremely active Rotaract Club, we can convene again at 5 a.m. and have them to share a lot about their exciting experiences and in working with their youth there in their district. So thank you, Yoshuki. And what I have asked, because it's a highly protocol culture, I've asked permission to share the thank you note next week with the club so that you can see the impact, help you to realize the impact that we have had. So thank to each of you for your support. We've got a board meeting this week at 5 o'clock at Bradley Academy Historical Center and Museum. So thank you for board members. Hopefully we'll be able to have a quota so that we can discuss the transition of my administration to the next administration. So we're looking forward to that. Mr. Phil, are we good right now?
Yes, we are.
All right, okay. Now, this is a real special introduction for me. As you know, Rotarians are known as influencers. And that's because of the membership, your presence in the community as stakeholders and leaders. And we're just thrilled because of what you contribute to the legacy of the Rotary organization, not only in Murfreesboro. There are 3 clubs: the Breakfast Club, Jim, which you were instrumental in starting, the Noon Club, and the Smyrna Club. So you're known as influencers, and influencers are people who can help others to fulfill their potential as we strive for purpose. We're all created for purpose. Now, influencers are individuals who help to capture greatness in each of us now as well as later. Influencers are also individuals that inspire and motivate individuals to be at their very best. And today, I'm just excited to be able to introduce a family of influencers on steroids. I've had an opportunity for the majority of my life to work with this family growing up here in Murfreesboro. We've shared so many experiences and adventures together. Their uncle was my family physician as a little girl. And whenever we got ill, we got 3 shots and we knew it. But Dr. Shacklett would meet us regardless of when we were ill, regardless of time, day, holiday, weekends, any of that. But we were all educated in the same community together as a family. And this family has touched my life in so many powerful ways. So I'm excited today, Rita, to introduce a family of influencers that's the creme de la creme of the group. And our speakers are the Shacklett family photography. And I've heard about them all my life as well, because my mom grew up here in Murfreesboro in the historic Bottoms. And Miss Nina Shacklett was a tremendous influence then, as they are now. So please help me to welcome the Shacklett family photography team to our Rotary Club today.
Some of you found a little white card on your table, and those are for writing out questions. If you have a question for Bill or Gloria, pass them, write it on there, and pass them forward, and we'll do a real short interview after they make some opening remarks. How about let's pull a couple of chairs up front?
Darren, have you helped me
Yes,
get
ma'am.
the chairs up?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we okay with this away from the mic?
Where do you want us to
But
be?
we'll have to move the mic.
Yeah, I thought we might move the microphone. Come on, have a seat. Any cards to come up? Anybody?
This is our new friend, Mr. Darren, who really has become a part of the family of influencers. And I just couldn't wait to get to meet Darren today, so I asked him to invite Darren today so I could meet him and fellowship with him later. Okay, all right, thank you, Darren.
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
give
You're
him a
very
hand.
Any more cards? If you think of something, just bring it on up.
I just have to say, we have spent so much of our lives together, and you have been such a dear, dear friend. And you're right, I don't know, I think you're the influencer, let me go that direction. We really are dangerous together. I'm telling you, when we get involved in a project, it's just, I don't know, what do I do with this? Okay.
Pick
That will pick it on the floor?
We could try it.
Okay.
It's easier to hold. You get to hold it and pass it back and forth.
How about that?
There we go. How's that? That'll work.
Thank you. Well, speaking of Granny, if you want to come up here after the meeting, this is our grandmother, and who was the first policewoman in Murfreesboro. And right down the street here on Manning Avenue, that's where Dad was born 101 years ago.
Wow.
So we did these panels last year when he was, would have been 100 years old. So when you talk about Granny, she was the best. There's no doubt about it. I do not know how she did that. She raised 5 children, was a policewoman, ran a farm. Don't figure, I don't know how she did it, but she just did, didn't she? Okay. All right, Bill, your turn.
You don't get that very often. I didn't get that very often growing up. One thing, I look over the faces of your group here, and we've shared our lives together. I mean, so much of what you've done, John, I remember John, who talks about baseball. I remember when we were playing Little League baseball. And the one thing I think we all agree on, we all come from different perspectives and have different opinions about things, but the one thing we in Murfreesboro agree on, we live in a very special place. And what makes it special is the people that live here. They have hearts for caring for each other and trying to identify those particular things that are needy in our community, and then bringing the resources to bear on those circumstances. I was at a Tennessee Municipal League meeting one time, and a guy came up to me at one of the breaks and said, what's so special about Murfreesboro? Y'all always got something going on. And I said, well, let me think about that a little bit. We had breakfast the next morning. I said, I think I got the answer for you. When somebody in Murfreesboro comes up with an idea to address an issue or address a problem, people don't think, their natural inclination is not to say, well, that's not my deal, or we've never done that before. The natural inclination of the people in this community are, what can I do to help you realize your dream? And the serendipitous thing of that is that the next time when you have a dream or something that you want to address, people come rally around that. And that creates this spontaneous energy in a community for a variety of good things, whether it's habitat, whether it's Red Cross, anything that the Rotarians are addressing. So many good things happen when people of goodwill feel inspired by each other. And that's what our community is about. And while I feel a little uncomfortable tooting our own horn about this, what I want you to do about our conversation today is to think about your own heritage and what was poured into you, because that's what we're celebrating when we say family. My dad, my mom, and my grandparents poured into us a perspective on community service. And we're trying to flesh that out in our lives, just as they fleshed it out in their lives. And you know what's important about that for us that are getting a little long in the tooth? Who's the next generation of that person? Find somebody to mentor and find somebody to pour into, whether it's your family, someone in your business, someone in the community. Let somebody come alongside you to see what motivates you, so that they can, that next generation of Murfreesboro people will be inspired to do what you do, to be a part of Rotarians and all of Kiwanis, whatever group that you're involved in, you know, that are inspired to coach Little League baseball teams, inspired to teach Sunday school classes and to go into the reading school days and to do things in the community. And because it's there. I'll bet you wouldn't be in Rotary if it hadn't been for somebody pouring into you the perspective of community service, that you have an obligation beyond your own self-interest. That's what it is. That's what community service is. You have an obligation to do something beyond your self-interest. And are you going to act? And I'll stop preaching.
Well, we had some questions for you, but we're out of time.
Sorry. Sorry.
And by the way, I married my own personal radio announcer.
You know, we have some great questions here, and I've kind of grouped them together so that we can, and let's just go with the technology questions right up top. And I'm going to read the three that kind of relate to each other, and you can pick out how you want to answer which one. First one's, what do you think about the transition from film to digital photography from the 90s into today? Second on that, what has been the input of technology on photography? Has it helped or hurt? And then what will you consider the three most, oops, that's not the one I wanted here. How do you like, what do you think of apps like Instagram's impact on photography? Those three kind of relate to each other. And it is a changing, fluctual situation. I remember when I first came in to work with Shacklett's photography, I bought a little $300 Canon G1 digital camera, and we shot a Santa Claus shoot with it, and it was horrible. I spent the next week or so photoshopping every single one of those images. And so, but then shortly after that, Bill bought a digital camera, a much better one, and we've gone digital ever since. So you guys, what do you think about the technology and how it's changed photography?
Well, I was drug kicking and screaming. I'll be honest with you. I did not like digital technology when I first came here. I was still shooting weddings with film for years. If it hadn't been for these two, because they said we've got to make the transition. And so I started shooting business portraits and stuff that were just kind of, down and dirty kind of stuff that you have to do repetition and all. I started shooting them and required a great turnaround. Started doing it that way, and the technology has advanced so much now that I wouldn't go back. I shot a location shoot not too long ago, 7 o'clock in the morning. It went to California for approval and composition. I called the guy at about 11 o'clock just to make sure everything was okay. He said, yeah. I said, he said, everything's fine. He said, isn't it amazing? I shot something in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and here at 11 o'clock, it's in California, and you're doing the composition on it. And the guy said, Bill, the really amazing thing is by 2 o'clock this afternoon, he will direct compose it to a printing press in Dallas, Texas. By 3 o'clock this afternoon, it'll be printed. I mean, listen, many of us that grew up with, shooting film, You sent it, you shot it, took it to the
Right.
lab, you waited a week, it came back, and then you sent it out for previews, it waited a week. So sometimes the turnaround in photography was like a month. So I wouldn't go back, and the stuff we do with digital now, restoration particularly, I am amazed sometimes what we're able to produce when something's just, digital technology is, and I said instead of sitting in a dark room, I sit in front of a computer all day now. So, and it's amazing what can be done.
Well, and I think that's kind of a key to, it's kind of been I guess that's why we've been here for a long time. And it certainly isn't because of our intellect, or is it, Bill?
No.
By the way, I just have to say, I can't believe that God has let me spend my life work with these three amazing men. They are not only some of the most talented people, but the most caring and gifted and loving people I know. And I am so blessed every day to get to be a part of that. And yes, we are brother and sister, so you know how that works. You know that. Always gonna be that. But I wanted to say that I think one of the things that Daddy taught us was to be adaptive. Don't stay in a rut. I mean, even when he was so sick before he passed away, we had gotten him a computer, remember? He was trying to figure it out. And so, I mean, just that kind of thing. And he was still doing inner prints. Remember we were doing inner prints with airbrush. That originally wasn't just his love was art. And so he would, and Jimmy was such good friends with your dad. I remember over the years, yeah. That was the other thing. He just loved Murfreesboro. He was such a part of that. I mean, there was no way that we couldn't have had that just ingrained in us about that. And I didn't want to say one more thing about the technology piece of that. I think some of the gifts and talents that Dad has, Bill's been in the lab ever since he was in third grade. So some of those old negatives and those, well, seriously, I know he gets the quality out of those particular old negatives that we scan and restore, because he does know what that's supposed to look like. And all those years in the darkroom now have made, because all of these images that we have, folks, there is no end to the images. Your children's children will still be copying Shacklett's photography. It's negative. There's so many of them. And we still keep trying. In fact, just today, I found some airport shots, early both Sky Harbor and out at the new, some stuff Dad was shooting up. My grandson wanted to see what the old airport looked like, and there they were. I found it, stuff that I guess you copied. So anyway, there's that.
Well, there's just so many good questions here. And I think I'm going to just have to kind of move on. We talked about what would you be considered the three most significant changes in the Murfreesboro community during your life? Just three. What surprises you the most about the growth of Murfreesboro? These are all sort of similar questions. And how do you like your company's atmosphere? Maybe we'll save that one for last. But I think about, we were talking earlier about technology. Now you can go out there with this,
right,
and get with Photoshop and with the technology that can generate even further improvements that, I mean, this is 100 times better than that first digital camera that we try to do that Santa Claus shoot with. And there are people doing billboards with these and going instant live television with these. So we live in a spectacular age, but it's also has to be about social reform. It has to be about communicating better together, not just putting something funny on Instagram or on Facebook. But how does what we do, I want to take these three questions together and say, how does what we do as photographers, as media artists, impact how the world sees itself and interacts with each other? We're doing some things now that people that aren't photography studios necessarily are having an impact on the internet and social media and that kind of thing. How does a photography studio fit into that? And what do we do that's different? What do we do that impacts that in a way that's kind of an amalgamation of the questions that I've got here?
Well, the challenge of technology, we all face it, whether it be photographers or anything else. And it can either draw us farther apart or it can bring us closer together. And I think the thing that it's challenging, but quite challenges kind of, if you move yourself towards something when you see a challenge, you can either use it as you've heard this analogy before, a stepping stone or a stumbling block. It's an excuse. Oh, I'm just never going to learn that. And so you don't do it. You don't move in that direction. Or you can say, man, this is a challenge. It's going to make me better. I see on the other side of this an improvement in my business. So you move towards it. And I think that's kind of the way, what has driven us and I think sustained us over the years is this idea that our business is simply a gateway to deeper relationships with people. You understand a person and you get to know families. We've had children that we photographed them pre-birth. I mean, before, prenatal, before and they come in, goodness, Kelly, we met Kelly Holcomb, at his wedding, and we ended up doing, before he had his children, we were photographing them, and then we've, all the way through someone's life. And if you connect with people, and it's not about the money takes care of itself. I mean, you realize that what meeting someone's need and relating to them in a very personal way, setting yourself for that to happen, answers a lot of those questions. And I think if there's anything that I think separates us, and it brings us joy, we enjoy, your job has to be something more than a paycheck. It's got to be. If it's not, you need to be another job. You need to find another job. Because if it's about the relationships that you have with the people that you're working with and the people that you're serving, and that's the kind of thing that you need to look for, that feeds your soul with what you're doing. And if it does that, then you're where you need to be. And if it doesn't do that, you might need to.
Should I talk about the time I almost got fired?
Well, yeah, I didn't do the firing. That was bad.
Well, no, I was thinking when we had the petting zoo that we were.
Oh, wow, now that could have been a fire. That could have been.
I was thinking when
We were doing animal pictures.
Yeah, in the spring, just like now, and we just got through. That was thinking about Peter X garden, but I had this idea that we were going to have an Easter extravaganza. So, and John Beatty, he's accomplice on this. We got this little sheet up the steps in the studio. Some of you have been in our studio. There's this little landing, and Tom's on one and pulling the.
It wasn't a little sheet, it was a full-grown sheet.
These pictures are going to be so cute. I said, well, we got that done and that was it.
No more.
We now do bunnies and chicken.
There were a lot of quotes and I won't mention them here.
Well, yeah, it's just, Bill kept saying, don't you ever do this again.
Stepping back into history, and you'll see quite a bit of history on these panels up here. And if you haven't taken a look at them before you leave today, come up and take a peek. You got a question about this? Do you have photos of the Heroes Parade for General Douglas MacArthur? Yes, we do. And we even have a little bit of film about it, I think.
We do.
And that's from Mr. DeHoff. Thank you so much for that, wherever you are. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's one of the things that has impacted me the most is the amount of history that this one single business has collected over the years. Some other photographers that we've managed to have their collections as well. But that is so important. And you get into Photoshop and you go down and you can zoom in on a picture and feel like you're Opie walking down the street in 1930 something. You know, and who'd have thought that you can, that's the kind of stuff that will get into your dreams. It really is important to preserve our history, but also to reflect on how those people lived at those times and the way they looked at the world, the way they thought about themselves, and the way that they considered their country and who they are in this manifest destiny that we all have. So be able to realize that this is the time for you to plug your book, Bill. The Then and Now book of the comparison between those days and contemporary days. Yeah, hold that up so everybody can see it. There we go. Get a shot of that, Frank. Just kidding. But
Well,
anyway,
John Lowell, the county archivist, when we were identified, that mom's collection was identified as one of the 3 in the state of Tennessee by the Tennessee Archives that was still intact and targeted for to be addressed. And so he came by, and it was a long process because we were still selling these images, you know, so we had to have some kind of collaborative detail as to what you could do if it was for research purposes, making our photos and images accessible for research purposes. But if you want to hang something in your home or in your office, then you got to come to us. So, I mean, because, you know, like I said, we were still trying to work that out, but it was about 1.5 years. And then after we did that, John came in and said, I want to do a book. And he told me the concept of taking images that we had and going back and taking a contemporary image of it. And quite honestly, things have changed since you see the book, which was about 5 years ago. So it's amazing. In town, as vibrant as Murfreesboro and Rutherford County is, there's things changing all. And we go into the elementary schools and talk to kids about, you know, record the history of your life. You know, I tell them, I used to teach a class at MTSU, a continuing ed class, and I'd tell them, take your camera with them a day and record a day in your life.
yes.
And tell a story with a day in your life. And then just reflect upon how that has changed over a very short period of time, a couple of months, and all of a sudden it changes everything. But anyway, and we all have some responsibility that, Frank, you know, how the Historical Society is helping that people be more cognizant, more intentional about saving history. So we all have a little responsibility in that. We all have to be responsible for that.
These 2 guys grew up with a dad who was the first person to, one of the first persons, if not the first person, to photograph the curvature of the earth when he worked in the Air Force. And then he came back here and was the first person to take aerial photography of Rutherford County. Many of the aerial photographs you see back in those days was Dick Shacklett hanging out of an airplane. And it's incredible some of the things that he pulled off with a camera that you had to shove a piece of negative film in, flip it over and stick the other negative in. And he'd carry around 20 or 30 of those in the duffel bag when he'd go out on a shoot. Today, to think about taking something like this and have hundreds of pictures when you stick them back in your pocket. It's a whole different world, but these folks have come up through it the hard way, but also the very rich and amazing way. And we try to, like you say, try to encourage everybody to use these things. And then we'll help you figure out how to get them on your computer and how to get them printed. That's not caught up yet with a lot of folks. So they lose their phone, and there's a couple of years of their history gone. So it's changing rapidly, but we have to take extra care to be sure that we preserve those memories in a way that great-grandchildren later on can see them like they do now. They come in wagging an old picture that's all cracked and broken, and we carefully take it out of the frame and rephotograph it, touch it up and whatever. We had a lady come in day before yesterday that they wanted 6 5x7s of this enormous old and ornate picture. And that's the kind of thing that we're proud to do and just grateful to have the opportunity to do, to serve not only families, but the history of our area and in some ways the direction of the future of our country.
I wanted to say something too about to speak to that. Gloria's been really, the other Gloria. She happens to be on the board of Uncle Red Making Days. We've been dark since 2019, but up until 2019, we took a program called Making Music Education into the schools. And we now believe that there is a direct relationship with the culture of our community that mirrors our culture of America with the roots of America's music. And I know we're just in we're neonatal stages of this. We have been working on this idea I mean, literally for about, well, 2013 is the first time we went into the schools. And, but you take this out to kids and you relate it to, from 1920s all the way up to rockabilly. And these kids absolutely go wild, don't they? They just go crazy. And we go crazy too, because it's just so much fun to let the images are just energized by the music. And so now we know, and we're about to do it again, aren't we, Gloria? In the fall of October 7 and 8, we're going to kick it off again. And all day making days, we actually are going to do it this year, but we're hoping to bring the images and the music alive and make that connectivity, because it really does mean a lot if you could just tell the cultural heritage of our community related to music.
I just handed Bill a couple of questions that I wanted to ask him, but he's got them, and so I'm gonna let him roll with his answers.
This is a good way to end this, because y'all
Yeah.
get back to work. But
Before you say that, I do want to mention that if there's another card on your table and there's a question that we didn't touch on, or something that's on your mind, or if you just like to get in touch with us to handle a project or work with you on something, put your contact information on there or hand us one of your business cards. We are available practically 24/7 on the square there in Murfreesboro. And we absolutely love you guys. Thank you for coming out today. Thank you for being with us. And we value your thoughts and your dreams and what you want to do with us from now on. And Bill, I'll let you close.
let me just finish it. I'll try to tell this really quick, but it's worthy of telling. What was the most unusual photographic project you've worked on? Well, I have told this story before, and anybody's ever heard of it, I've got to stand up to tell you this story.
It has visual effects.
We're going to destroy everything we've ever said, and to see us in the council do this, so I'm going to do it anyway. But anyway, we had a couple come in to do their wedding. And my mother, this is when my mother and dad were still living,
Oh my God.
and we're on East Main Street, and we're talking, and they booked us to do the wedding, and then we're getting into the details of what the wedding was going to be. Well, the fact of the matter is, she was a belly dancer instructor. And so we didn't know what to expect. We were out at the Wayside Inn, if some of you remember. And Joe Black Hayes, if you remember Joe Black was doing the service. And my dad and I walk into the room that's going to be where the service is, and everybody is there in suit and ties looking regular, you know. And we look at where the altar is, and it's a pup tent, an orange pup tent with a palm tree over the top of it. And we said, where's the service going to be? Joe Black and us, we were wearing suit and ties, you know, and all, I mean, like normal wedding. And they said, this is where the service is going to be. And Joe Black, you know, he's got what he's going to say, you know, and get ready. And the service is going to start. And it starts, ting, 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 ting. The bridesmaids start going down, serpentining the crowd, because all of her students are dancing through the aisles. I am so tickled. I can't even take a picture. And my dad, if you knew my dad is standing in chairs. Dad is getting it from different angles and photographing different things. And I am so tickled, and Mama's sitting back there like this. I'm so tickled. If they were waiting, relying on my pictures of this thing, the service. So we get to the end of it, and Joe Black does his service, you know, and they, you know, finally they sit down with I forgot. Ching 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 was the bridesmaids. He is dressed in a chic of Araby. He's got the full chic of Araby, looked like Lawrence of Arabia with the full thing. And so they get to the end of the service, and he sits down in front of the little orange pup tent, you know, like this, in front of the orange pup tent. And she dances around, and I didn't know a body could move in this contorted position. And you're sitting there saying, should we all leave? This doesn't seem appropriate for us to be here. Well, she finally gets to the end of her dance and they crawl into the orange pumpkin and close the door behind with all of the wedding party is out there. And everybody's looking at each other like, now what do we do? So we just leave. And in about 10 or 15 minutes, the party, the curtains part and they stick their head out and come back out. But Mother and I and Dad got some good pictures and stuff, but we're all sitting. This is the most unusual wedding that we have ever done.
Yeah, Joe Black said he wished he'd had the camera to take a picture of y'all.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a good story.
Let's give them a hand. We have made a donation in your honor of the Shacklett family legacy. And also you have a speaker certificate. We greatly appreciate the contributions you all have made to this community. And we continue to look forward to working with you again. Please remember Uncle Dave Making Days, October 6th and 7th. And we're just thrilled to be a part of the community that you all have just paved a footprint for the rest of us. Thank you so much.
Frank, would you take a picture of her?
Yes. And thank you all for capturing the memory of my grandmother and grandfather. I never got to meet her, but the picture means everything. We restored it for us and we were able to give our family members each other. Thank you so much. All right, we've got a board meeting again on Thursday at 5 o'clock. And Judge Newman, I'll be on your radio program on Thursday at 9.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
But I'm not a judge.
Okay. Looking forward to that opportunity and just want you to know how greatly we appreciate the momentum here. And for the Raiders Choice Award, go blue. All right, so go in peace, go in love, and go in unity.